And we are taping Mike Dorval, and we are around the corner from O'Brien's in front of the funky mural. This is where I plan on doing all the interviews for funnygrownhere.com from now on. Anybody I talk to has to agree to meet me here.
And it's nice. It feels like there's always a crowd.
Yes, you could play to that crowd. We can get a look at the crowd.
The house is always full.
And that guy is always laughing.
And diverse.
Yes. So, you have a one-man show, Death by Chocolate.
I do.
And that is, what are the dates that's running and where?
It's going to be February 12th through the 14th and February 19th to the 21st. Those are all Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 8 p.m. at Boston Playwrights Theater on Com Ave, 949 Com Ave, right next to the Paradise Rock Club.
So what led you to a one-man show?
I've wanted to do it for a while because it feels like it combines the things I like best about acting and stand-up. Because they've always both been a big part of my life. I love the narrative of acting, of doing a play. I like the art. I like that there isn't a demand to be funny a certain number of times per minute. The humor's a little bit more organic. But I love the intimacy of stand-up. I love that it's a more individual art form, not to sound too pretentious, and that I can directly address the audience. I can still have them address me. There isn't a fourth wall. And so I feel like this project kind of combines those things into one thing that I'm, fairly proud of and is a kind of a personal story to tell.
Do you find that those skills overlap, that acting and stand-up have places where they meet?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of overlap. Now, I mean, there are certainly some talented actors who aren't terribly funny and some very funny stand-ups who couldn't necessarily cross over into doing other things, but a lot of the same things are, it's timing, it's, your body's your instrument, it's conveying a story. It's putting someone, essentially you're putting an audience member in a world that you're creating. Now, sometimes it's just a world that you're creating for the purpose of a joke. It's just with your words. Sometimes it's a world that you're creating more physically on stage. But, there's a lot of similarities between the two.
And what is the story that you're telling here? From what we saw in there a moment ago, it seems like a very personal story.
Death by Chocolate's all about pretty much my lifelong issues with my weight, with food, and how that kind of affected me and what I did about it and where I'm at now and kind of every day. It's sort of a humorous look at a 30-year, 110-pound odyssey that is my life.
Well, people tend to not associate that as much as a problem men have. People think men sort of laugh off the gut.
Yeah, which is kind of part of the problem, It's a problem that a lot of guys have, but it's not okay for them to have it, so everybody makes fun of them, and it's really kind of the last universally accepted prejudice. There's absolutely never a time when people feel like it's inappropriate to make the fat joke. It's always okay. Martin Short can put on a fat suit and, put his face in the bowl of popcorn and everyone laughs and that's okay. So, all right, that's funny, I guess.
Does that offend you?
Yeah.
To see that?
Yeah, that really kind of does. It's like, this is, people dealing with their weight issues, it's like, it's a health issue. It's killing them. It's something that I know for years just made me really sad and feel bad about myself. And I think there are shockingly few number of people who are obese who don't have an issue with it. So it's, and when I see stuff like that, it's like, I know it's hurting the people that they're making fun of, but everyone thinks you're supposed to be jolly about it. Well, Santa Claus really screwed things up for us in a lot of ways.
Well, everybody's calling it epidemic, and on the other hand, it's the funniest epidemic, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but it's still very funny. Great, thank you.
Well, and it's at least half of the script of most sitcoms with the chunky guy and the.
It is. There's never been a fat guy in a sitcom where they haven't gleefully made fun of his weight. That's never, ever one time happened. That a fat guy in a sitcom did not get made fun of because of his weight.
You do find laughs in it, though. There were. I know you mentioned earlier that you were worried about this was a comedy crowd tonight at the Rob Crean show, and you were worried that this was a little more serious than the normal stand-up. When
you're going to stand up, and I think you rightfully expect, all right, I'm going to laugh a couple of times per minute. That's what you're going for. it's a comedy show. I mean, this is somewhat more of a variety show, so I thought it might be a crowd that would be a little bit more okay with it. They were great. But yeah, there is that part of me when I'm in a comedy environment that feels like, all right, it's time to laugh again. It's time to laugh again. I was kind of comparing it to if you go to a restaurant. I want the food here now. That's not unreasonable for me to expect a prompt delivery of food service. Whereas if I invite you over to my house, it's not really polite to go, hey, food. When's it coming? It's a more organic experience where it's like, when we eat, but we're having fun talking right now, and it's going to be a part of the overall experience.
So I could see that where it seemed like you were going off script every so often is in there. Maybe that was just that you were giving a very deft performance.
It was actually almost completely word for word on script.
Okay.
So I'm trying to just make it seem a bit more off the cuff, but I mean, hopefully it would feel that way because it should feel like like I said, a good monologue should feel like a conversation where just one of us is talking a lot more.
So what are your ultimate plans for this past the Playwrights Theater?
The hope is the Playwrights Theater, we're hoping is going to be kind of, they've been really great, supportive, and they support new playwrights, but, they're producing their own stuff with a lot of their own playwrights and the students from BU, so hopefully I'm hoping to use this as kind of a marketing run to see if there isn't a longer life for this out there, because I feel like it's an issue that talks to a lot of people. It's, it's a very marketable show. I think it's, an interesting story for anybody to listen to, and especially people who've lived through it, which is now the vast majority of Americans. So I'm hoping that there'll be a nice long life for this, where I can have an extended run and, get to perform for a lot of people.
Where can people go on the web to find out more about this show and future shows?
They can go for tickets for this show, they can go to bostonplaywrightstheater.org. They can buy tickets right there. They can also call 866-411-8111. I hope I got that correct. If I'm wrong, switch an 8 and a 4. And they can buy tickets. I'm also rebuilding my website, MikeDorval.com, which will have a Death by Chocolate page, which will have links to everything. And that should be done within the week. So MikeDorval.com, it'll be updated, and it'll be great.
Okay. Thank you, Mike Dorval. This has been Frost Nixon. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Nick Zano.